I hope you're ready for some science. The scientists have returned. This is We Roguelike It ranking for Nuclear Throne. I'm your host who totally forgot to reference the listing of what the names are. Dr. PhD. I'm your host, Boston. Over there is Moonpeer, who gets to decide his own title.
I'm Dr. Moon.
Dr. Moon.
He is Monkey Senior. I think he's Monkey Senior PhD.
There you go.
PhD. And you are...
DDS, probably.
There we go.
Who cares? Because we're here to talk about Nuclear Throne.
Don't diminish the titles, Boston. If there's one thing this show has kept up consistently, both this and the main show, is titles.
That's right.
Don't
and talking about food.
And food, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I had the best sandwich today.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
wait, save it for the food show, that video game podcast. All right, we're here to talk about Nuclear Throne and put it in our giant list. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk about our overall thoughts about the game, mostly so that the runtime of the show doesn't spoil where it hits in our list. So, Moon, why don't you
is that why we started doing that, is it?
100%.
If you 2-minute episode, I bet you it's number 10.
2-minute episode. All right, it's Below Sunless Sea. All right, see you later. All right, Moon, let's talk about last episode, episode 4, we just talked about our overall disdain for explosions. So let's talk about our overall thoughts about Nuclear Throne.
Okay, I vote Monkey goes first, because he's the one who's actually beat this, and he's the one who's put the most time into this, even not just this week, 4 weeks. I almost said this week, that's how long it feels. But he's put the most time into it, he's made the most progress, and I feel like as the youth of the nation, shout out to POD.
We are. I will get behind that, if Monkey, if you'd like to kick off the festivities here.
Right, man, where to start with this game? This game is hard. Like that is the most prominent thing about this game, I believe, because like we were talking about in the other episode, everything does so much damage, and a lot of the characters don't have that much life, and there isn't that many ways to get health back. Like, it's just a random health packs and stuff,
right?
But yeah, this game is so hard that it took me 40 hours to beat it once, and like that's probably the longest out of any roguelike that I've played to get a completion, that I have gotten a completion. Unlike, like Galaxy, I haven't yet, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the thing with that as well is usually that's a roll. Like, normally that starts a roll. Like, you beat a roguelike once, and then normally it's like, okay, you go from 40 hours to 5 hours, then 3 hours, then 2 hours, then 1 hour, then literally every single run, it's like beat it. I don't see this game being that kind of game.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I will say though, like, I really like the art in this. Like, other than
I do too.
Hard, the art style is pretty cool.
Especially like the big character portraits, like that. That pixel art is really solid.
Yeah, when the bosses show up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like I really like the weapons in the game.
Yes, there's a lot more variety than I thought there would be.
Yeah,
and they feel very that weapon, like all the shotguns feel very shotgunny, and I don't know, I feel like they have a okay balance. Like, obviously everyone's gonna have their own preferences. Like, I love the shotguns, and then the crossbows, sorry. And I remember Moon saying he
you're a monster.
hates the crossbows.
You are a monster.
Love them.
So, yeah,
100% a monster.
Enter the Gungeon got me set up for crossbows.
I killed myself with a toxic crossbow today.
Wow,
because I fired it into a wall 2 inches from my face, and I was like, well, that was a mistake.
That's a poison explosion.
That's as for playing it after this, I feel like not. I'm not going to, just because, like, these past 2 weeks, I haven't been able to get even close to beating it again.
Right.
And I I can put this game down resting easy. That I beat it once, so it's
you've seen it. Yeah,
wipe my hands off of it.
Right. Yeah. Moon, how about you?
I mean, pretty much like Monkey said, like it's the biggest thing that stands out to me. Like there's certain things about it that I love. Like I'm not sure how I feel about the controls because I played it on television through PC via Steam Link. We did discuss how we all played it at one point, I think, but
yeah,
I think mine was the suboptimal way to play it because although the controller feels okay, it definitely feels like bad. I'm missing out on the accuracy that the mouse can give you. The ability to just hold your mouse in one position and strafe around a corner is pretty handy kind of thing when it comes to shooting people. On the weapons, really quick, did anybody have a specific favorite weapon?
I liked a lot of assault rifles, like the 3 burst ones. I thought were surprisingly. I think Monkey's right where each of the weapon types feels really interesting. Like the minigun feels different from the assault rifle. Feels different from like the pop gun. Like those
triple
all
machine gun.
Triple machine gun. Like those all feel. They seem on the surface like they'd be fairly similar, but they all feel very different.
Yeah, like my favorite gun period was the bog standard machine gun because it was accurate and it did not chew through ammo. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the triple machine gun because you can just run into a room and circle strafe and fire and everything's dead.
Yep.
But the standard machine gun had a really good combination of rate of fire versus accuracy.
Yep.
Like, I know I wasn't spitting out 3 bullets every single time I heard that noise. With the triple machine gun, you are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, okay, I've got 1 level worth of ammo and my ammo is at max. Like,
yeah.
So I did find a good combo of weapons. I did experiment more with the melee stuff, and that can be seriously powerful. The problem is you have to get a melee weapon really early and then spec in that melee direction.
Right.
Really hard because the shovel is amazing if you can get the range on it up.
Yeah. Because
it does the 3-directional hit. And if the range on it is big enough, you can literally just stand on the other side of all of the walls and beat the crap out of people. Works really nicely.
Right.
But yeah, it's the main thing I'm going to take away from this thing is the difficulty. I have full gamer score in some games that people would say I'm stupid for doing that. Eternal Sonata comes to mind.
You fool!
The 2 original Dead Spaces with their ridiculously hard difficulty setting and limited saves. Dark Souls. I have done the hard game gamut, and I am all about playing it on hard. You give me a game, I will play it on hard. Number 1, for the sweet, sweet Chivos. Number 2, because I like the challenge. I like the back and forth of who is better, me or the game. This doesn't feel as hard so much as it feels sadistic, where it's just like, I'm going to punch you in the face repeatedly over and over and over again.
It feels very much like when an Isaac expansion comes out and like that first couple of weeks is really hard until he sort of pulls back on it and it's like, all right, now it's challenging, but it doesn't feel overly difficult.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest downside for this for me is the difficulty level. I mean, stick it on the Xbox, and if I would have started it then, maybe I'd still keep playing it just so I can go for those achievements.
Yeah.
I used to have full gamer score, but I definitely have base gamer score and the first DLC on Isaac of all games. You cannot tell me I don't like.
Yeah, you've put in your time.
Yeah. But for this, I don't know. I doubt I will be going. It'll stay installed for a while, but I doubt I'll be going back to it on a regular basis.
You'll look at your list in a year and you'll be like, oh, Nuclear Throne, I haven't played it in like a year. I'll just get rid of it.
Yeah, probably.
I don't have too much else to add on top of that. I think Nuclear Throne is... I think it's a really solid game that I think has more to it and more unlockables than I was expecting. Especially since it's a couple years old now, and I feel like the expectation lately has been, well, your game has to have 400 unlockables and 300 levels and 15 characters.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Gungeon.
Right.
Thank you both for that.
And I feel like, I think Nuclear Throne has more to it than I was expecting, but I think, like you guys, I really think that the difficulty didn't really turn me off from it, because I felt like I was getting more and more successful. But the difficulty is going to be the reason why I don't return to it. And I don't think I will
want to put another 66,000 hours into another roguelike.
Well, and it's sort of tough, because I won't play this game again, not because it's not bad, but there's just so much other stuff to play that I could continue to unlock stuff in Isaac. I could continue to unlock stuff in Gungeon. Like, I still haven't seen 100% of those games that, when you stack up Nuclear Throne next to those things, which is probably a little bit unfair, I don't think that there's a reason for me to return to it. And I have already deleted it from both Steam and my PS4. So like, I think it's a really solid game, and I think had I played it when it came out, I'd probably have a little bit more fondness for it. But I think so much of the genre has eclipsed this game since then.
Let's also talk about that, like, shall we? Like, I mean, some of the games we played, like, specifically ended last year as well. We ended 2019 on two of the newest games in the roguelike genre, in Dicey Dungeons and Legends of Bumbo.
Both of which, especially Dicey, is really good.
Yeah, and then we started 2020 with one of the oldest in the genre.
Yeah, and as we found out, one of the most difficult ones. So.
This thing came out in 2015 on Steam.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get down to science. I think usually we've been starting with the top 10, but I sort of want to start at the bottom of the list here, just in case someone...
refresh?
Yeah, a little bit of refresh, but also in case someone feels very strongly that should be low on the list.
Okay, shall we do a straw poll on that really quick? Like, start on top 10 or not, just to get a mouthfeel for it?
Sure.
I say start on top 10.
I would say too, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a quick refresher then, starting from the bottom. Number 16 is Sunless Sea, Don't Starve, Cave Blazers, Riddle Corpses EX, Galaxy. Number 11 is Prey Mooncrash. So, is Nuclear Throne better than Dungreed?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, this one's kind of hard for me, because
we know
really
how
like
much you love Dungreed.
I like Nuclear Throne enough, but
yeah.
I feel like Dungreed is a good attempt at taking things like Nuclear Throne, like that art style, that look, and then throwing in a little bit of Spelunky too. But it doesn't quite gel everything together the way something like this does, I feel like.
Right. Okay, is Nuclear Throne better than the Swords of Ditto Classic?
Yes, art style alone. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Swords of Ditto is a beautiful game. Like, it genuinely is a beautiful game. It's well drawn, it's well realized. It's a Zelda clone, kind of.
Sure.
Whereas this feels grimy, it feels dirty, and it's meant to, for clarification's sake. And I do feel like it's really well designed. There are some touches here and there that it could do with tweaking. Make that ninja dress in white, just so I can see him, please.
Right. Okay, scooch up there. Is Nuclear Throne better than Darkest Dungeon? I'm worried about this pause.
I say yes.
Nobody knows. It's
the Darkest Dungeon question. It's always the Darkest Dungeon question. It is. I think that Nuclear Throne is a better roguelike than Darkest Dungeon. I think Darkest Dungeon is a better game than Nuclear Throne.
Both incredibly difficult. Darkest Dungeon probably a little bit easier to save yourself from the difficulty than Nuclear Throne is.
They're both the same level of easiness. It's Alt F4 and you're saved.
There you go. Finally free.
I would put Nuclear Throne above Darkest Dungeon. I think I don't know, for just roguelike setting, I feel like it plays more like a roguelike than Darkest Dungeon. I don't know this.
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Darkest Dungeon after a run, last thing I want to do is start another run.
Yeah.
Like, if everything is wiped out in Darkest Dungeon, like, I'm done.
Yep,
I'm going to walk away for a couple of days, and then I'm going to come back. Whereas this is just like, I'm screaming in frustration, and I'm still hitting the retry button.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right, is Nuclear Throne better than 20XX?
I'd say yes, but I don't like 20XX, and I think you guys probably fell higher on 20XX than I did.
Yeah. 20XX is fine.
I would say 20XX is better because I didn't have to spend 40 hours to beat it the first time.
Right. I think for me, I think Nuclear Throne is better than 20XX, largely because I like the level up skill choosing system in Nuclear Throne better than 20XX's weapon choosing.
Yeah, the mutation system is super varied.
Yeah, and I feel like both games have the same level of variation when you do choose your upgrades. Nuclear Throne has less overall character upgrades, but I think that's changed largely that you're picking up the weapons in the level, and I think the mutations that you're getting at the end of levels after you've leveled up I think they're more impactful than some of the upgrades in 20XX can be.
And just with characters alone, like Nuclear Throne has what, like 10? I don't know, 12 or something like that.
Yeah,
and 20XX has 4, I think.
Yeah.
Come on, 20XX has 2. Come on, it has 2 and an additional 2 if you're lucky enough to beat the final boss.
Yeah. Okay. Is Nuclear Throne better than The Legend of Bumbo?
I'm gonna kill myself for saying this, but yes.
Oh, I don't think so.
It's the difference in years.
Okay.
Bumbo is, as much as we hate to admit it, and one of the reasons I feel like it kind of stopped right where it was on our list is because it's not a finished product. Even though it was released as a finished product, it's buggy, it's broken. It didn't have sound options.
I had a good conversation with someone recently, I don't remember who it was, that we don't really play early access games on the show, largely because they're changing so much and they haven't really settled into being a final product. And
were they trying to get us to play that card game?
No, I don't remember what it was. But Legend of Bumbo is kind of our reminder of that, where it's like, when a game isn't finished, then this is why we're happy to play games that are 5 years old, as they've been finished.
Yeah, and I think that's why it goes above Legend, because like the difficulty, hate the difficulty, however you feel about that kind of thing, there is a lot to this game. A lot to this game. And don't get me wrong, in 5 years' time, when Bumbo is where Isaac was, and there's a bajillion different options and everything else.
Bumbo Afterbirth Plus.
Yes, when we revisit the list and we do a Legend of Bumbo versus Bumbo Afterbirth Plus on the list, that's when I feel like we can have that conversation.
The Legend of Bumbo Classic.
Yes, versus the new version. But at this point, like it just feels like a more finished product.
I think you've convinced me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, is Nuclear Throne better than Dicey Dungeons?
Yes, I mean no. Please.
I was like, really?
Yeah, I was like, excuse me.
I don't think
we'll be back in a minute. There's technical difficulty. Yeah, I don't think Nuclear Throne is better than Dicey Dungeons.
No. Dicey is... we've talked about this before, how like on our list are certain games which we consider quote-unquote like intro to roguelike games.
Yeah.
Swords of Ditto Classic was a good example of that. I think Dicey Dungeons is both an introduction game and a hardcore game, because you see the difference in the characters and then the different challenges it throws up to you the further you go in each of those characters' like plot lines.
It's like, episode 3, the game's totally different. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Now you can't do anything that you did previously, and you can only do it in multiples of 7. Which there isn't even a 7 on the dice, so figure that one out. Go for it.
Yeah.
And I do think Dicey Dungeons has the advantage of age, I guess. Like all the previous incarnations of roguelikes since it's one of the newer ones, like it learned. Interestingly, Bumbo didn't maybe not learned as much, but yeah, Dicey Dungeon definitely learned from previous games.
Yeah, and you can sort of see the through line there with Dicey Dungeons, getting inspiration from some more classic roguelikes like Nuclear Throne, where in Nuclear Throne each character plays a little bit differently, mostly because you have to change your skills and how you approach the game because of how the positives and the negatives of the class. With Dicey Dungeons, the thing that we've always praised has been each one of these characters interacts with the game significantly differently in a foundational sort of way. And that'll be something that I always really fondly remember from Dicey Dungeons. Yeah.
Yep. Same.
It's a great game.
Good game.
Yeah. A little better than Nuclear Throne.
Only a little bit, though.
All right, so Nuclear Throne sits on our list at number 6, and that's our list, and that's our episode. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Don't forget, next game is Solitarica, the solitaire roguelike game, which I am very excited to finally play.
I've literally been hearing about this for like 10 years thanks to Drew Scanlon, and it's like, finally we get to actually play it.
I'm hoping it's good.
Me too.
That's our episode.
I've never heard of this game, so
it'll
be interesting.
Exciting. All right, that's our episode, and we'll see you next run. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.